he builds a robot that only he will be able to defeat. The Wasp discovers this plan, and when she tries to stop it, he smacks her around. Smacks her once. And that's the one and only time, but from several comic creators, you'd think that it was habitual abuse. So anyway, the robot attacks the Avengers, and Pym is unable to actually defeat it, and so it's the Wasp who finally defeats it, knowing its weakness, or the trick that Hank was going to use to defeat it. Well, this, of course, after this comes to light, is just the Avengers can't have him around, so he's expelled, and the Wasp divorces him because he smacked her around. So he goes off and sort of wanders around until his arch enemy, Egghead, first coerces and then frames Pym into stealing a shipment of adamantium. Once in jail for that, Egghead has a Master of Evil formed to break Hank Pym out. And Pym eventually defeats this Masters of Evil group by using some of Egghead's own devices against them. And this sort of redeems him a little bit in the Avengers' eyes. And from then on, he says, "I'm done with the superhero business." And he retires to do research. However, he is brought back as a member of the West Coast Avengers, initially supposed to only be an advisor, but is pretty much on the team, just not in a costume. And during this time, he still has deep guilt about what happened and his bad choices with regards to the Avengers and the way his life is going. So he becomes pretty depressed and even suicidal, and eventually is helped by Firebird, one of the other West Coast Avengers, from dealing with those suicidal feelings. So he does rekindle the relationship with Janet Van Dyne after the Avengers come back from the Heroes Reborn world, and rejoins the Avengers along with her, and kind of sorts out his identity crisis and schizophrenia with Yellowjacket and Giant Man and Ant-Man, and how all these personalities are really expressed by each one of these costume identities. At some point, he was replaced by a Skrull and imprisoned. So he spends a great deal of time in recent days as a prisoner of the Skrulls somewhere. And finally, when he's freed, unfortunately, Janet dies. He becomes leader of the Mighty Avengers, really challenging the Norman Osborn Avengers. Not outwardly, but more of in tone, and keeping the real Avengers alive, or the spirit of the real Avengers alive. And now that series is over, he is moving on to a teaching position at the Avengers Academy in that book, and so that's pretty much where his character is now. With that said, stay tuned for my next review, which will be on Ms. Marvel / Warbird.